Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Martial Way. Today, my guest is an MMA fighter making his UFC debut next month, fighting out of Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas by way of Israel. He's a background in traditional karate, switched to MMA with a pro MMA record of 6 wins with no losses. Welcome, Natan Levy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mamatzav Gever.
Makure.
I have a lot of Israeli friends, so when they knew that you were coming on, they're like, "Okay, you got to say this, or you got to say." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna butcher it." So hopefully,
No, you said it well.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
This is
How
a
are you
great.
doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome now. Now that I have you on here, I'm doing fabulous. So my channel, I mean, as most people know, I usually focus a lot on Kyokushin, full contact karate styles, and things of that nature. But I've obviously been following you because I mean you come from that traditional background and then made the switch over to MMA. So I have a lot of things I want to pick your brain about. So I'm sure a lot of your interviews lately have been very MMA, UFC focused, but I want to pick your brain more about your roots and your traditional karate and that switch. So I hope that's going to be okay with you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So on that note, so you come from Israel. I mean, I think if my memory serves me correctly, you were born in Paris, but grew
Correct.
up. Yeah, okay. So growing up in Israel, how did you get into traditional karate and specifically Uechi-ryu, which is an unorthodox style traditional karate people are familiar with?
Um, you know, at first, I always wanted to do martial arts. For me, like growing up, it was all about like Rocky, Bruce Lee, all that stuff. But I was just never really consistent with training
Mm-hmm.
until I became a teenager and started doing Pange Nun Kung Fu,
Mm-hmm.
which is like Chinese version of
Of
Wei Ryu.
Uechi, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at
And how did you find that? Was it just happened to be a local school teaching it? Because again,
yeah,
that's a
there was
pretty, it's not a common style.
no, not at all. But yeah, there was a teacher in my town. I was really looking to like box or do MMA or kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, looking up online, I didn't really find much. All I had was like word of mouth. Um, what really happened is I was doing like combined martial arts, which like MMA, but it's not jujitsu, it's judo,
Right,
and it's not kickboxing, it's karate, like
right, right.
a full contact style. Um, so I was doing this for like a year, and then I went up to high school and met some new kids, and they were doing kung fu. Like when we realized we're friends, and we're like, oh yeah, you train as well. Okay, let's spar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got my ass kicked, and I was like, where do you guys train? They say, oh, we're doing kung fu in this part of town. I
Mm-hmm.
said, all right, I'm coming with you guys. So I stopped that MMA thing and started doing kung fu with them.
Mm-hmm. And then where did Weichi or Panganu, uh, where did that happen?
So when I was 16, after a couple of years of doing kung fu,
Mm-hmm.
my teacher told me he's flying to Okinawa to find the roots of what we're doing and like training Uechi-ryu. And I told him like, can I come with you? He said yes. I asked my mom, can I go to train in Japan? And she said, yeah, sure, of course you can. Like
Yeah,
I'm
right.
talking nonsense and just whatever. Yeah, yeah, you can go. And that same week, I just show up at home with a flight ticket. You already said I could go.
What was her reaction?
She was like, ah, really? I'm like, yeah, mom, you said it was okay. I got my flight ticket. She's like, okay, so I want to talk with your teacher. I want to do
Yeah.
this. But yeah, she let me do it.
Wait a minute. How old were you then?
And 16.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's brave of you.
Yeah.
That's super brave. That says a lot about your personality. So it's
Um,
I want to hear the rest of this, but it's interesting because I came to know you not through MMA or any of that stuff, through the Weichi stuff. And I remember the videos that were coming out and stuff. There was these demo videos, and I saw this Mohawk guy that was doing this amazing, powerful stuff. And I can't believe, flash forward now, this is you. That's it. Anyway. So let me hear the rest of it. So so you made it to Okinawa.
we made it to Okinawa. Um, we went to the town hall and looked for Shinjo Sensei, which
Mm-hmm.
is the grandmaster of the
Yep.
Uechi-ryu. And basically, again, two foreigners, like we don't speak Japanese, they don't
Mm-hmm.
speak English, and we just show up at this dojo, and he tells us, like, go away, guys. So we just, for that week, every day we show up to his dojo, like bearing gifts.
Oh wow! So this is like out of a movie.
Yeah. And just like fruits are very expensive in Okinawa because they need to import everything. It's a small island.
Right.
So we would bring him like mangoes and just like fruits that are very expensive every day until he gave us a shot. And he said, okay, we did kung fu, so we had black geese.
Right.
So he said, go where I tell you and buy a white gi and
Mm-hmm.
come tonight to training.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did. Very hard training and very hard sparring. And
And were you thrown right in right away, right into their sparring and their training?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And even like, kind of trying to make us quit.
Yeah.
Here are the two white guys. Let's kick their legs until they never come back.
Yeah. So were you exposed that so the kung fu that you were doing, yeah, I know it's
Mhm.
a root of that. How similar was it to the Weichi then that you got exposed to in Okinawa? Like were you guys already doing the gaidons, low kicks and all that kind of stuff? Um, hard contact training?
Like some of the positions were similar,
Right.
like, but I'm not sure how to say it, but like the quality of movement, like the style of movement was very different.
Mm, right.
So maybe if you like take a photo of two of us and them doing something, it'll look the same, but like just the way you move, it's kind of different.
Right.
And spent a month there, and then when I got home, the next thing on my mind was like, how do I get back to Okinawa? Like I can't wait to go back to Okinawa and train
Wow.
more.
So and that the whole time was with Shinjo Sensei.
Yeah,
And what was
and
your impression of him when meeting him and seeing him?
uh, very like impressive person.
Yeah.
Like somebody who has an aura. Is not just some guy.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I have so many stories from there, but just like everything, like I think it shaped my life a lot. Like that trip, and even more so the next one when I went there for like 3 months and got my black belt
Mm-hmm.
the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was very hard because I would wake up every morning. Uh, 7 a.m. Shinjo would pick us up with his car, drive us to the school where he teaches. So in Okinawa, there is like a private school,
Mm-hmm.
and to get like your, I'm not sure how to call it, but like to get your, to finish high school properly, you need to have like a school black belt in karate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's not like a dojo black belt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as demanding,
Mm-hmm.
but like you gotta know some basics. There's like some katas that I made for the schools to make it more simple.
Right.
But he would teach there like different classes, and I would just do one class, student change, I keep training, students change, I keep training for the whole morning every day.
Wow.
And then nighttime training, I would ride my bicycle for 20 miles
Oh, wow.
each way. Yeah. And on my way there, like knees feel weak from just like being scared of training, of like how hard it's gonna be.
Just the anticipation, knowing
Yeah,
what's
just the
coming.
anticipation like gives you weak knees.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, you get there, get your ass kicked for a couple hours, ride back home, same thing the next morning.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
Wow. So that so this is funny hearing this. This literally does sound like a movie though. That's
yeah,
pretty
it's
that's
a
pretty
movie.
cool. This young kid goes over there and does this training and driving his bicycle for 20 miles to get his ass kicked. So were there
Yeah.
any other Westerners there, or was it predominantly Okinawans?
So there's like a lot of military bases in
Right.
Okinawa.
Yeah. American military, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have like dojos inside the bases, but a lot of them, like the practitioners, would come sometimes to the headquarters to train or for like belt grading,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. So there was like interactions with a lot of Americans or soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
and and yeah, some people also from like different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm. Like transient, just kind of moving in through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but usually everybody who trained with Shinjo Sensei, he had like it was like head of Uechi-ryu in Canada, head of Uechi-ryu
Right.
in Spain. It wasn't just like just regular practitioners.
So that's pretty cool though that you got to train with him every day. You must have created a good relationship with him.
Yeah,
Could he speak English, or like how were you guys communicating?
Shinjo, yeah, yeah, he speaks pretty good English.
Oh, okay.
And funny because the first time we came to see him, he was speaking Japanese, and some student was translating and saying like, "Oh, you guys should go train at some
Mm-hmm.
other dojo," just like
Mm.
uh, acting like you don't speak English, and then
Oh,
slowly opened up and started speaking English with us.
that's interesting. So he's got to test you and check you out first and approve you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome. So, and Weichi, I mean, it's known as a very hard style. Obviously, people who are familiar with it, I mean, just from the body conditioning and all that stuff. But the other thing that's interesting about Weichi is really unorthodox strikes, like with parts of the body that you wouldn't normally, like your front kick with the toe, the thing like that,
yeah.
like using knuckles and things. What was that like? I mean, for me, I'd love to know your perspective because I see that and I see it. It's it definitely had its value in a time and stuff, but how does it fit into 2021? Having your toe being able to, like, I mean, we don't walk around barefoot anymore.
Yeah.
Did you ever question any of that stuff, or was it just
Um,
the mystery of it all was just so cool?
yeah, I did question it. Um, like what I did was cool and I liked it.
Right.
And I wasn't always thinking like, oh, this have to really, I need to be able to kill a person with my thumb knuckle
Yeah.
strike.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, this is a form. This is a way to control my body.
Right.
Um, Here's a position I couldn't do 6 months ago, and now I can. It means
Right.
I improved my control of my body.
Hmm.
So I wasn't always like thinking like everything I do is supposed to be to work.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this technique, I don't think it will work, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, Toe kick, actually, I still use it in MMA. So it does come in handy.
Yeah.
Like you are barefoot when you fight in MMA.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
I bet not a lot of fighters do that in the ring either.
yeah, yeah. Um, it takes people like by surprise, I think.
Yeah.
They don't,
I can
it like
imagine.
strikes them right where it needs to. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, like all these things, like one knuckle punch, all that stuff for me, I don't, I don't think it works. I think like also I've seen people like break boards and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Wow, yeah, that would hurt, but why not take that time and use it to, improve your punching technique or your defense or chicken kicks or whatever it is that is way more common.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's how I kind of thought of it as well. That being said, though, I mean, I'm not sure how many kata are in Weichi. Is there a lot? I don't think there's a lot, right?
No, 8 katas.
8 katas.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, did you find, did you get any practicality of them that you still like? I guess my question is, I know you've transitioned, and we'll definitely get into it to MMA and stuff, but was there anything formable in those katas that is transferable to actual fighting, we'll say?
Yeah. So again, for me, like my grasp of it is like Ido Portal,
Of course.
like a movement coach, Israeli
Yep.
guy.
Yep. Incredible.
For me, kata is kind of that same thing. It's like learning how to move your body, how to control it, how to be precise with your moves. And I think when you watch somebody who's like, a lot of times people tell me, like coaches tell me, I can see the how karate made you like a sharper fighter in your striking. Even when you do Muay Thai or boxing, like you can see that karate, like
That
everything is
foundation
where
is
it
there.
needs to be. Yeah. I think that's a lot thanks to kata, like weight transfer, right? Um, how you kick, how you transfer your weight, how you move when you stay in a low stance, right? And you move from one side to the other, staying in a low stance. That's something that shows somebody who doesn't come from a karate background or doesn't have that control sometimes will like shift all over the place, change his heights, and will make his strikes like more visible, more telegraphed. Um, so yeah, I think there's a bunch of benefits to it. When somebody tells me, how does the kata help you in a fight? Why would you waste time on doing kata? Yeah, of course, I'm not going to put so much time in it right now because it's not my focus. But how is jumping rope going to help you in the fight? Are you going to bring your jumping rope inside the cage? No, it's a tool, right?
Touche. Good point.
So we have many tools. I'm not going to jump rope more than I work on the heavy bag because obviously my sport is punching, not jumping rope. But the rope is an effective tool to use.
Hmm. Hmm. Which is, so this is kind of interesting too, because one of the things I've noticed watching your fights is your ground game has gotten really good, especially your defensive wrestling. Obviously, Weichi didn't have much focus there. How did that develop? I mean, we'll get into talking about switching over that. Did you have any grappling or ground stuff prior to making the move to MMA?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's like a lot of factors. One of them is when I got to Vegas the first time, I knew that like grappling was going to be my biggest hole. Like I'm zero. I'm a white belt. I have no grappling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I started doing jujitsu every day,
Mm-hmm.
twice. Like every day is obvious because I would train every day. But no matter what I did, 2 sessions of jujitsu, morning and evening.
Wow.
Um, whether it be training 2, 3 other times every day, still got to do 2 more jiu-jitsu sessions. And I really fell in love with it. I really like it. It's a lot of fun. It's very practical.
Yep.
And yeah, I think just my passion for it and my love for it made me do it so much that I kind of, um, made up for lost time.
Yeah, your ground control, like I said, it is pretty phenomenal. I've seen you against guys who are, pretty high pedigree wrestlers, and you're controlling them. So it says a lot. It says a lot. When you're practicing your jujitsu, were you doing gi or no gi?
Mostly nogi.
I figured that for the ring.
Mostly,
Yeah,
yeah, mostly nogi because again, that's how I compete. Like
right.
the gi is a good tool to like strengthen your grip and work different stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna compete in nogi,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna do nogi.
yeah. So back to Okinawa. Like, did you fall in love with Okinawa? Was it a place that you still revere, or would like to go back, or what was your relationship with Okinawa like?
My first time was falling in love with it. Thinking all the time, how can I get back there as
Mm-hmm.
soon as possible? Um, my second time, which was 3 months, was way more hard,
Mm-hmm.
way more like lonely.
Mm.
Um, harsher, like harsher training, harsher like life around training.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any money.
Mm.
Um, So, I would just eat like rice pretty much all the time. And yeah, like it was a very rough time for me. It made me grow up a lot. It made me learn a lot, but it was very traumatic. Like it was the maybe hardest time of my life.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how did that influence you when you left there? So from there, you went back home to Israel, I assume.
Yeah, I went back home and I was like, F Okinawa, like I ain't going back ever.
Did your friends and family think you had changed at all from the experience?
I was kind of depressed for a year, like after
Really?
Okinawa. Yeah,
After returning?
yeah.
Why? What?
Not depressed, but like I um, kind of fell off. Like I would still train every day,
Mm-hmm.
but like I wasn't enjoying it. I was just like going through the motions, and
Yeah.
like I wasn't sure even if I want to continue doing karate.
What happened? Did something, was there a specific thing that, or did you become disillusioned? Like what was it?
Um, I don't know. I think it was just like again, like it was like so hard in Okinawa,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to explain it. Like, of course, now I'm happy that it was, and it made me like who I am.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was just like sick of it. Maybe like also trained so much that I was sick of it,
Burnt out.
and yeah, and also my coach stayed like in Okinawa for that whole year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of training with like a replacement coach, and the
Mm-hmm.
fire was very like the fire was dying.
Yeah.
But after that year, like I realized, yeah, that's what I love to do, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly things got better.
Yeah. I mean, you had your own dojo, right? Or dojos?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And that was in Weichi as well?
yeah.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did you, was that just again, like something that you wanted to do, or was it out of necessity?
No, it was something I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I did like instructor course in Israel. You're obligated if you want to
Yep.
be a teacher or coach, and opened up a few groups, and I was doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like I came back from Okinawa from the second time when I was 18,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I restarted to watch like MMA
Yeah,
because
that's what I was going to ask. Where did that fire ignite?
yeah, I was watching MMA even like when I was a kid,
Right.
but when I was doing karate at some point, I thought like especially being a kid, oh, these guys suck. My sensei would beat their ass,
Yeah.
and um, and kind of stopped watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, when I was 18 and got back from Okinawa, just a friend was like, "Oh, there's UFC fights tonight. Come watch it."
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching it again, and slowly realizing like, "Oh, these guys are." Now I can understand what I see. These guys are high level. They're not just some guys my sensei would beat up,
Mm-hmm.
and started having an interest in it. For me, it was like I wanted to do it, but I thought like that's just not me. That's not my sport.
Right.
It's so cool, but it's not like what I've been training for in all these years. It's not something that's gonna happen. Um, and at 22, or like by the time I was 22, I flew to Vegas. But before that, what happened is competing was very taboo in Uechi and like in my
Mm-hmm.
dojo. And I always wanted to compete like in karate.
Mm-hmm.
And my teacher had like all kinds of excuses, like why you want to compete? You want to just beat up on people? What are you, a bully? You
Oh
know?
wow.
And I was like, no, I would just want to test myself and
Yeah.
and compete. And have people beating me, I'll beat on some people, we'll have a good time.
Exactly.
He's like, no, if you beat somebody up, it means he was weaker than you. Why
Oh,
would you
wow.
take pride in beating somebody weaker than you?
Wow, that's an interesting philosophy. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't like buy it,
Yeah,
but I
good for
was like
you.
very respectful of him,
Right. Yeah.
and always like I grew up with him, so I was like, okay, sensei, if you say so, then you're right.
Yeah.
But more and more I doubt about it, and more felt uncomfortable with it. And one day there was like a reality TV show that was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to imitate the Ultimate Fighter in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a group text of like all the black belts, and my sensei says like, who wants to do a reality show, live in a house and do MMA fights like a tournament style?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Sign me up.
I don't know, I didn't know where it came from, but I was like, me, I'm down, let's go. And I started training, just running and training very hard. And I
but
had a
you
friend
but
who did
but you hadn't done any MMA at that point.
haven't done any MMA at that point.
Wow.
I
Okay.
had a friend who was a judo brown belt,
Yep.
and we would meet up and train because my sensei, I asked him and he said no, that I'd go train at the jiu-jitsu gym. So basically, like, I'm like, okay, can I train with my friend? Yeah, you. So, train with my friend. That eventually there was never any show, like it never took off.
Right.
But I was like, I need to do it anyway. Like
It was
the
ignited.
train has left the station.
Yeah,
Like I'm going to do
exactly.
MMA.
Yeah.
And
Can I ask
then
you?
my
Sorry, I
yeah,
just
go
want to
ahead.
ask you one quick question. Have you ever done any Kyokushin karate, or are you aware of Kyokushin? Like,
Now,
well, now you are, but back then,
yeah,
did you
back then,
ever?
no,
No.
no.
Okay, just curious. Yeah.
Back
So,
then, all I knew is like our
wait.
style is the best.
Right.
Everything else is inferior.
Wow, you drank the Kool-Aid. You were in the cult.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I totally interjected there. So yeah, so
No,
the
no,
train had left the station.
yeah. The train had left the station. I told my sensei, like, listen, I want to to do MMA.
Hmm.
I still want to be part of our organization. I still want to train with you. I still want to represent karate, but I need to do jiu-jitsu.
Hmm.
I need to do wrestling, um, and I want to go train in Vegas.
Hmm.
And he told me, listen, you have to choose. It's karate or MMA.
Wow. Okay, your sensei was pretty hardcore.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, so that he
yeah,
gave you a dilemma. Okay.
yeah. And we were like brothers. Like we were for 10 years
Right. Of course.
together every day. Um, like with a very heavy heart, I told him like, okay, I choose MMA. And just because of that ultimatum.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
And
But I mean, you had dojos though, karate dojos at that time as well, right? So it's not just a decision of just walking away from Uechi. You have a business
yeah,
there, everything. So that's a huge decision.
yeah. And it's like, it's also very like to socially like leave like your social construct, like everything,
Yeah.
all your friends are from karate.
Yeah.
Your students, it tells you, go teach your students tomorrow and let them know like starting next class is going to be another teacher.
No.
um but yeah, like I did what I thought was right. Nobody forced me, I did it. That was my decision.
Yeah.
um so I flew to Vegas at 22.
And why Vegas? Just because it's the Mecca? It's the
Yeah,
yeah.
for me it was like, I want to be the best in karate, fly to Okinawa. I
Right.
want to be the best in MMA, fly to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had so many people tell me like, why I shouldn't do it, why it's not the right time. Okay, you should first be champion, MMA champion in Israel, and then go to Vegas.
Right.
Or people telling me, before you have a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, you have nothing to do in Vegas, like train here, get your brown belt, and then maybe fly.
No, interesting.
Thankfully, I didn't listen because I'm still a blue belt in jiu-jitsu and I'm already in the UFC. So
Exactly.
I would have still been waiting for my brown belt.
Yeah. There's always the people that surround you with that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, everyone's got their advice. The ones that are sitting on the couch. Yeah.
Everybody who hasn't done it is going to tell you how you should do it.
Exactly. So thankfully you didn't listen to them. Okay.
Yeah. So I flew to Vegas. I met like my striking coach, Jimmy Giff.
Yep.
I got really lucky.
Were you
Met him.
were you introduced to anyone?
Yeah,
Did you
I
know
was
anybody?
introduced to him.
Yeah. So
No,
did you went there, but you went to Las Vegas cold though, not knowing anyone, or?
not knowing anyone.
Wow, man, you're a brave kid. Yeah. All these
Brave,
adventures.
or like you know, when you're young and you don't
Yeah.
know all the dangers. You're just kind of
Yeah.
naive.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So um, I went to Vegas. I met Giff.
Yep.
I was so lucky to meet him, and I didn't even know that he trained like world champions in the UFC and in boxing.
Yeah.
And I just kind of landed there, and I was like, I want to be an MMA fighter, sir. Oh, you think you can make it? Yeah. Okay, show me your fight stance. And I just get like completely sideways karate
Karate
style,
style.
deep, low, like horse stance.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's just like, oh, F, you know, what am I going to do with this kid? Like back in my dojo, we were like 30 people training, and there was like one heavy bag.
Oh wow.
So if we did heavy bag training, yeah, in Israel, space is very limited.
Right.
So small dojo, small kata,
Yeah.
30 people in one heavy bag. And it meant when we did heavy bag work, it was like, go for 10 seconds,
Yeah.
next,
Rotate.
next, right? So he tells me, okay, we're going to do one round on the heavy bag, one round on mitts, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just go in the heavy bag like at 200 miles an hour. Like he's going to tell me
Just
to
going
stop
crazy.
in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But slowly I realized like he's not telling me to stop.
And now your
I
gas
realized like
is
a round is 5 minutes. And I have
oh, shit, that's
4.5 minutes to go, and I'm gassed.
That's so funny.
So yeah, the way Giff tells it is like I threw 1,000,000 spinning kicks. And
Oh
then
my god!
I
I wish
just
there was
kinda-
footage of that.
Yeah,
Did anybody
definitely.
videotape it? Oh,
I was just dying on the heavy bag, whatever time was left.
yeah,
Then we did some mitts, you know, also like high pace.
yeah. And had you
Uh,
done any mitt work before that?
no,
Oh wow.
you know, trying to understand the concepts as well.
Yeah.
You know, really like killed me for the whole sessions. By the end of the session, like I was throwing up in the garbage while he was telling me that, you know, I'm very raw. He told me
Right.
like, but there might be a diamond in the rough. If you're willing to train hard, I think we could make something out of you.
Awesome.
And I said, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you tell me. And we started training.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
well, obviously he would have, if anybody, someone like him is going to have an eye for stuff, right? So
yeah,
he obviously saw something in you, and obviously he was right. I mean, look at you today. But I keep thinking, like, I mean, you'd come from a very traditional background where you were obviously a very disciplined student up to that
yeah.
point. So I'm sure. I mean, and that comes through in your personality even now. Like that must resonate from you as well. So he probably could tell right away you're going to work your ass off.
Yeah, I think more than he saw something physical in me.
Mm-hmm.
Like athletic people, you know, they're a dime a dozen here in America,
Yeah.
right? Like I could take anybody and like you know, if
Transform them.
athleticism was all it counts or talent or something. But what really counts is like discipline, hard work. At the end of the day, it's not who's the best, it's who's left. I
You're
know a bunch of people who are 10 times more athletic than me, 10 times more gifted, but at some point, because of financial struggles, they said, I'm done with this dream of MMA. I'm going to go work
right.
something, or had a baby or whatever it was, couldn't get a visa, some things that killed their dream. And at the end of the day, it's who stuck around, who made the adjustments, who didn't give up on their dream.
100%. And we even see it like even at our Kyokushin dojo, and my sensei talks about as well. He's very well known, Sensei Steve Fogarashi, and bringing up good fighters. And one thing he talks about, sometimes it's almost bad to have people who are completely naturally athletic, because they lack, a lot of times they will lack the work ethic, because
Yeah,
things come so easy to them. And then all of a sudden, the person who's probably not perhaps as athletic, but works their ass off, slowly catches up and surpasses them. And to your point, something else pops up in their vision, and they get like some
yeah,
shiny distraction, and they're gone. So yeah,
exactly.
yeah, work ethic is I think probably the most important part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hard work beats talent
yeah.
when talent won't work.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Um, but at one point, how did you end up though? Because you're at Syndicate now with Coach John Wood, correct?
Yeah. So after a week of training with GIF, or a
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
um, he said, okay, like we started making adjustments to my striking, learn how to box, learn how to move a little bit.
Right.
And he said, okay, we still got a lot of work to do, but you got to go do your MMA. We don't want you to be a boxer. We want you to be an MMA fighter.
Right.
So you got to get into grappling. He told me you got to do a lot of grappling,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to, do your MMA sparring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started taking grappling really seriously, met John, um, connected with the team,
Mm-hmm.
and really been with them ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you seem like you're loyal to them. Like you must get. I mean, you're getting well known now. Has there been offers to go to other places and stuff? Like, why do you decide to stay with Syndicate and John?
Yeah, there's been offers, but first of all, like I'm very connected with them on a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
and I trust in them.
Mm-hmm.
And trust doesn't come easy.
No kidding. Yeah.
Um, Also, yeah, loyalty. It Like I'm against like blind loyalty, but like these are the people that took care of me since day one.
Mm-hmm.
When nobody thought I was anything, they put the time in me.
Mm-hmm.
So why, when I succeed now, like a lot of people ask me like, oh, now that you're in the UFC, you're gonna change gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got me into the UFC. Why would I leave them the
Exactly.
moment I get there?
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't be like even serving my self-interest. That would be like just a spit in the face for no reason. We've been winning. We're
Exactly.
on a 10 fight win streak. Why the hell would I change coaches?
Exactly. um, did you find did you find that your traditional karate helped or hindered you when you started now focusing on MMA?
Like, of course, I think it helped. Like, I have a lot of tools that other people don't.
Yeah, like we talked
Uh,
about earlier, the sharpness
yeah,
and the technique and things of that nature.
sharpness, technique, talking technically, like, yeah, the kicks, some of the movement, foot sweeps have served me really well.
Oh yeah,
Like,
right.
even when I couldn't wrestle, yeah, I can jump on someone's leg and work very hard to get them down, or I can just wait for them to step, sweep their
Right.
leg from under them, get on top, and start working.
Good point.
So
Yeah.
that helps a lot. It, but also sometimes like the moves I do are too choppy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of time, GIF, my coach tells me like I do something and he tells me not karate, but like just flow, be
Flow.
more flowy, and I'm trying.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but everything has its positives and negatives. a lot of times I say like, oh, I had to learn boxing from zero when I got here, and Muay Thai and this from zero, and I had to forget some things, some bad habits from karate. And people say, oh, then basically karate didn't even help you. You had to learn everything from zero. Well,
Mm,
the point is, I didn't have to learn everything from zero because I had like the discipline and I had like the control of my body.
mm-hmm.
So maybe most of the techniques I use today are not from karate, but maybe it would have taken me twice as long to learn them.
Yeah.
And also, once you have good, like, I think personally, you can't go into MMA knowing only karate. Like, I think it's factual.
Mm-hmm.
But once you do know boxing and you do know wrestling and you do know like Muay Thai, then you add karate. Now it helps you a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like there isn't any other martial arts. It's not like karate is out of the ordinary. Any other martial arts, you can go into MMA just knowing wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You can go into MMA just knowing jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So it doesn't make it inferior. You have to have a complete, well-rounded game to be in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have karate trips, movement, kicks, punching, mentality, all these things help you.
Yeah, I mean, I would think they would. I mean, especially, and I mean, for the average person, they hear karate and you just think karate. But as we know, like there's so many different styles of
Right.
karate, and whether it's like Kyokushin, like I do, is very very different from the point system fighting like somebody like Wonder Boy would do.
Yeah.
And everything has its place. So and again for you with Weichi, which is probably you're probably the first. Are you the first Weichi person in MMA? Maybe, I don't know. It can't be that many if
I
there's.
think there was Gustavo
Oh, right, right,
Gondora, something
yeah.
like that.
But I guess what I'm getting at, I mean, when there's going to be movement or things in you that people are, it's going to be hard for them to unravel. Like you're not just going
Yeah,
to be the standard out of the box MMA guy who's just done his
exactly.
stand up Muay Thai, he's done his Jiu Jitsu, or he or she has done their whatever. You might have a very different angle or take on things. Like the tripping is a great example of that.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, especially also like we'll get to it, but like Kyokushin as well, has helped me
Yeah. So
develop a lot.
how were you introduced? So that's what I heard that you had done Kyokushin. I was like, what? How did you get introduced?
Okay, so um, after like everything that happened, with leaving Israel and like closing my schools and like I had like a very bad taste
Yeah.
left from karate.
Yeah.
I was still like considering myself karateka and like you know trying to represent well, but for me like I didn't want to do it anymore really.
Hmm.
Not anymore, but I didn't want to do it for that time being. I was like I need a break from this.
Yep.
I'm
Need to
doing
park.
MMA now. If at first my plan was to keep doing karate and MMA, and then I was like exiled. Uh, so I was like, okay, right now I'm doing MMA.
Hmm.
But after my last amateur fight, I broke my hand, and I had like a year off of fighting. I was still living in Israel,
Hmm.
and my friend told me, who finished the army, told me like finished his service, told me I'm going to Tokyo to train. You want to come with me? Um, I said, yeah. You know what? Sounds cool. Like Tokyo, some training. No, I didn't really think too much of it. I was like, yeah, I'll do some spinning kicks. I'll work on my stuff with some karate trainer out there. Like as
Hmm.
long as it's not the Okinawa 2.0,
Right.
I'm
Right.
I'm okay with it. And so um, went with him to Tokyo, and we trained with Shihan Artur Hovhannisyan.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
who you trained with?
yeah,
He's amazing. And what a great guy.
he is. Yeah. So very quickly I realized like it's not
Not what you thought.
not what I thought. Like training was brutal. Uh, I wanted to escape Tokyo, and that was like almost after a year layoff because of my hand.
Yeah.
So I was kind of out of shape, and I swear within 2 weeks he kicked me right back into fight shape. Like
Really?
he would,
That's awesome.
yeah, he would kill us. And he really sparked like the fire again for me in karate.
That's awesome.
Uh, yeah, like after, when we were done there, we did like 2 weeks or 20 days training, like short training camp.
Yep.
It was hard training every day. And like I told him, like, I for a moment I looked at karate as like just another style of fighting. Like, oh, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I learned these moves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fight to Tokyo, and I'm gonna fly to Tokyo and learn some different moves.
Mm-hmm.
But you really reminded me that karate, it's not just like a set of moves, it's a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And you really reignited the karate fire in me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the smart thing of him to do is, again, like I grew up, all I heard was like everybody in Israel who does karate is garbage, but us.
Right.
And so he told me, I have a friend in Israel. He's the head of the Kyokushin there. You should go train with him. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, yeah, maybe. And he was like, at the end of the training camp, he gave me like a gift, and he told me, this is for my friend Shihan Ronen.
Mm-hmm.
Please give it to him. And I said, yes, of course, I'll
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
Talked to Shihan Ronen on the phone. Hi, how are you? I'm Natan. I got a gift from you from Shihan Artur. When can I give it to you? He said, come at 6 a.m. to the dojo. We're doing some training. I'd love to meet you. Come train with us and give it to me. And so I did train with him, realized he was an amazing martial artist. And he had a great, amazing team of,
Yeah.
really, really dedicated practitioners. And I've been with him ever since.
That's
I moved
awesome.
away. Yeah, I moved away from Israel, so now I live in Vegas.
Yeah.
But I still had the opportunity to fly to Tokyo like last year, so I went to train with Arthur again.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I'm in Israel, I train consistently with Shihan Ronen. So
That's phenomenal,
that's
man.
yeah,
That's
that's a part of
that's
what I do now.
that's obviously from a Kyokushin guy. It makes me puts a smile on my face. So,
Yeah,
have you has the Kyokushin side, because Kyokushin is very different in Uechi.
yeah,
Has Kyokushin helped you at all with your MMA game?
yeah. I think like there's a lot of similarities of
Yeah.
what I used to do in Kyokushin.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're both full contact, and it's some moves are different, which is great for me. I'm not looking to redo what I already did.
Right.
Um, for me, like of course, you can always improve and get better. But when somebody says like, "Oh, you need a lifetime to master this style, and you should dedicate your whole life to this one style," not really my state of mind. Like I want
Mm.
to learn, and if I do something different, that's great. Um, Even if I'm never gonna master it. Like I want to learn it, know it the best I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so I learned a bunch of new things in Kyokushin, and again, just like training and doing it, and it's something I want to teach in the future. I got my brown belt a year ago.
Awesome. Us.
Yeah, thank you. In Tokyo, and I'm learning all the katas and everything to hopefully soon be a shodano.
That is so cool, man. Like that says so much about you. I mean, here you are on this path of MMA and ultimately UFC, undefeated fighter. So you could leave all that stuff behind, but there's something about traditional karate and things there that keep that spark alive, that you keep that focus in you. What do you think that is? Like and one thing I do notice is like I mean, there's different characters in UFC, as we know. You have the everything from the humble George St. Pierre to the Conor McGregor hyping a fight stuff, and then everything in between. But one thing that's common with guys and gals who have a traditional martial arts, a traditional karate background, there's a respect, there's a humbleness, there's drive and discipline. There's all these little factors that come from it. Is that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that the kind of thing that keeps you tied to traditional martial arts as well? What is it?
Yeah, I think like the way of life for me, it's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like in the future, I see myself teaching karate and MMA,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to even train MMA with more like a karate mentality, more like the discipline,
Right.
everything. For me, like something perfect would be training somebody who's young in karate, and you got to be in the gi, and you got to learn everything, and then at some age maybe add boxing gloves and start punching the face,
Mm-hmm.
start taking each other down,
Mm-hmm.
and like kind of still do both,
Mm-hmm.
but whoever wants to be a fighter more focused on one thing, and whoever just wants to train for fun
Mm-hmm.
and well-being focused on a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah, I think like also karate is more sustainable at all age,
Yes.
more for wellness, well-being.
I'm an old man. I'm
um
still doing
yeah.
it.
Not that old, but yeah, I've
I'm
seen
like,
older in Okinawa. I've seen way older.
yeah, touche. Yeah. Yeah. So now, how long you been in Las Vegas now?
7 years.
Wow. Do you miss home?
Yeah.
Or what
Yeah,
is
I do.
home now?
I Yeah, exactly. Like Vegas is home, but
Right.
I don't want to be, one of those guys who lives in Vegas for 20 years and some other place is home. Like, yeah, where I am is home.
Mm.
But also my family is in Israel. My a lot of my good friends are in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't been there in 2 years.
Mm.
So I'm really looking forward to it, and yeah, it will always be home as well.
Yeah, of course, of course. Do you have what's your family like? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have two big brothers with
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
So I have many nephews I haven't seen in a while.
Has anybody been over to visit? Have you seen anyone from your family? I
My
mean, things are
cousin
so
came to
hard right
visit
now
me.
because of COVID and stuff, but
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
yeah.
Um,
But your
but I'll see
cousins?
them soon. I'll see them
Yeah,
soon enough. Yeah.
yeah. And what's it like living in Las Vegas? I mean, I'm just smirking because Las Vegas has a reputation.
Yeah. I came to like Sin City to
Yeah,
be a monk, to be
exactly.
an MMA monk.
Exactly, exactly. And how's that balance happening?
It's good. Like that's the style of life I like. I
Yeah.
don't like to party, go out, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's perfect. Like it's, training with the best fighters in the world, with the best coaches in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Having like, here some other places in the world, like it's if somebody's in the UFC, it's crazy. Like if
Yeah.
I'm in Israel and like, oh, I'm in the UFC, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Here,
It
every
isn't.
other guy is in the UFC, right?
Yeah.
So you train with the best, and like you learn from them, you get inspiration from them. Um, and yes, sometimes even just sparring and training with them, and you're like, oh, I can hold my own.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can make it. Maybe I am in the level to do it, and surely it's true.
Well, and on that note, I mean, what was it like? Where was your first American fight, MMA fight? It was in Vegas, obviously, right?
It was in Vegas. Um my first time ever competing in combat sports
Mm-hmm.
was an MMA fight,
Mm-hmm.
amateur, in front of 18,000 people. And I never competed in karate or anything before that.
Oh, that
And
was your first exposure. Holy shit! Did you throw up?
yeah, no, like from the first time I got to Vegas, I didn't have like I had a tourist visa, so I could come for 3 months, go back to Israel for 6, come for 3 months, and
I was going to ask
first
about
time,
that.
second
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, I like my coach told me like you're not ready, and I was like, please, coach, let me fight. Uh, you know, no, you're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, sir, if you say so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Next time we had a fight scheduled, um, and like it didn't go through.
Mm.
Like second trip, actually it didn't go through because my girlfriend back home, her father was murdered by his neighbor.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. That's crazy.
yeah. So, um, you know, packed my stuff
Yeah.
and flew back home instead of fighting to be with her and support her
Yeah, of course.
uh, in a very, very hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a year later, I went back to Vegas again.
Mm-hmm.
This time I'm gonna fight. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 9 fights canceled.
That's got to be
So,
so tough.
it's not like oh, if fight gets canceled, yeah, I'll fight next month. No, my
Yeah.
visa is out next month. I gotta go back home.
Yeah.
And it's like if you add all those months of training and back home
Yeah.
together, it adds up to like 2 years.
Mm.
So
It's
it's 2 years that I tell people I'm gonna fight in Vegas, I'm gonna do MMA, and no fights. Like
yeah.
every time I go back home, people are like,
So
you ah, yeah, you got 9 guys that got hurt. Interesting.
right,
Sounds like a
right.
lie.
Right, right.
So a lot of people were kind of shitting on me, but
But it did
you know,
happen.
I yeah, I didn't give up, and at the end of the day, yeah, I had like, at some point I was thinking like doing this MMA thing, it cost me my businesses, right?
Hmm.
When I would go back home, I wouldn't train. I would work security
I see.
all night. Um, just like a lot of hardships. Like I told you, it's who's left. And
Yeah.
trust me, I thought about giving up. I thought about, oh, maybe I should just reopen a dojo. I was
Hmm.
doing so good. Why did I want to do all this stupid
Right.
stuff?
Right.
It's never going to happen. But I just stuck through it. And eventually, when I got that first win in like 50, 55 seconds, I think,
Yeah. yeah.
in front of 18,000 people, that was a pretty powerful moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I told myself, like, okay, maybe this is going to happen.
Yeah. And then continued on from there. And there's something, and all right, I got to ask about the Mohawk because you've had the Mohawk forever, even from
Yeah,
your Uechi days. I saw you in the videos back then. Is that
right.
it's now become like your almost like your brand? Is that going to continue on? I know that's
Yeah.
kind of off. I love it.
I'm almost 30, so I'm thinking maybe it's time to
Retire
you
it.
know, chill out with the Mohawk. But when I'm fighting, for sure. When I'm fighting, I'm always gonna have it for sure.
well, I mean, but you do. There is something very. You're. How can I say this without dissing other people? I mean, MMA, UFC, but on all organizations, it's flooded with fighters now. There's so many good fighters out there, and so many um, that are trying to make it. But there's only at the end of the day, it's like anything else, whether it's music or anything. It's a cream of the crop. People will rise up, and there's a bunch of factors for that. I mean, it can be luck, but it can be other things as well too. But you have a look. Like there's people that have a spark, a look, or something. And for me, and I'm probably might be biased because I knew who you were and the karate background and all that kind of stuff. But you're an exciting fighter. You're super exciting. You have this great look. Um, I don't know, man. I think you might have people are always looking for the it factor, the unique factor. Do you feel like you have it? Have you been told you have it?
Um, I think I have it. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure what it is, but
Right. You can't. How do you quantify it? Right.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I definitely think like I bring something special, whether it be the karate or just like my style of like mixing things up and being creative. Um, the fact, that I'm the only UFC fighter from Israel is big and
Hmm.
gives me a lot of exposure.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think there's a lot of
I
factors
agree.
that happen. Yeah, and also in the ring, I think you're incredibly unique. I can't remember the fight you were fighting someone. You came in with this overhand, and the overhand you swept around and took them down. And it was so unique. I don't know. I'm not sure if you even know what I'm talking about, but I remember
Yeah,
watching that fight and literally rewinding that part like about 5 or 6 times because it was just spectacular. It was just so nice, and that's just one example of like you have this really unique way of moving. It's again, I wonder if it comes from the having that unorthodox karate background and then moving into this, or it's just your personality. I don't know, but it's pretty damn cool.
thank you. Yeah, I think it's like also, mixing from a lot of styles
Right.
and the karate, of course. I also, I regularly train in Vegas. There's no Kyokushin,
Mm.
but I train with Hiro Sensei.
Hmm.
He's a really great point fighting
Oh, cool.
sensei. And, I train with them and do something different. It's not like what I do, but that's the whole point, doing something different and really
Adding
like
these things on.
hitting, exactly hitting and not getting hit.
Yeah.
That's not too bad for MMA,
No, that's
right? It's not
that's
for, it works for point fighting, but hell, it can work for MMA.
yeah.
So, yeah, I always try to incorporate things and learn new stuff.
What was the? Has there been one opponent or anything that you've hit? What was the toughest yet? I mean, I'm trying to figure who you would have been. Like maybe somebody like what was his name? Ben Lugo. That was a pretty tough fight.
Ben Lugo,
Yeah,
yeah, he almost knocked me out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Um,
was a good recovery. I don't know how you did it, but
yeah, and I think my toughest fight was against Henry Barona.
oh yeah, yeah,
He's a fighter from Jackson Wink, which
yep,
is a huge
yeah.
MMA gym, very big name.
Hmm.
I broke his orbital in the first round with a hook kick.
Oh wow, I remember that kick, but I didn't know I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, me
Wow,
neither. Like just after the fight, my agent told me, by the way, you broke his orbital.
holy
Like
crap.
I broke his orbital in round one. Still gave me 3 rounds of
Yeah,
hell. Like this
that's
guy wouldn't go
that's
out.
tough.
Yeah. So he was a tough bastard.
And what's as the whole experience overall, has it been positive for you or any regrets?
In MMA,
Yeah, specifically.
no, no regrets. Um, everything that goes wrong, you learn from it.
Yeah.
And really, I'm really happy with where I'm at. I'm 29. I started doing karate at 15 when people usually start at 5.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I started competing in amateur MMA when I was 24. It's kind of late. People usually who do combat sports like they're in the ring when they're 16 or
Yeah.
even younger. Um,
You're
they're
late
doing amateur
bloomer.
fights. They have a bunch of amateur fights before they go pro.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had 4 amateur fights and I was like, broke my hand 1 year off. I'm 26. I got to go pro.
Hmm.
Um, so, I did make up for lost time. I had to rush some things. Of course, I would have liked to be like, I could have had the options of like competing for a world title in amateur MMA.
Hmm.
Yeah, that could have been nice, but I didn't have time for all these,
Yeah.
detours.
Yeah.
Um, and luckily, I had the like, good surrounding that helped me like navigate and find the right path for me,
Hmm.
considering my age and considering my experience. And we did everything as right as possible so far.
It is pretty spectacular how much you've crammed in those years. Like it is, I find it super impressive. Again, even going back, to your Uechi. Like you started, like, to your point, later on. And I don't know, if people have never seen your videos and stuff that I've seen of you doing Uechi, it's really high level. You do look like somebody that's been doing it forever. So you obviously have you're very naturally talented, but combined with that, with the drive and the work ethic, I mean, I think that everything speaks for itself. Like, it blows my mind what you've accomplished in that window of time. It's pretty damn impressive.
Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
yeah, I think it's really good. I mean, are you here? I mean, you must now. You're getting. How well known are you now in Israel because of this?
I don't know. I haven't been in Israel in 2 years, but my friends tell me like, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, they like my name is out there in Israel. Oh, that's cool. And they're like, no, you don't understand. When you come to Israel, you'll understand.
That's what I'm
I'm like, all
wondering.
right.
Like that.
Yeah,
That's
like
what
two
I'm.
years ago when I was there, I could like be sitting in a restaurant,
Mhm.
get a dessert
Yeah.
for free. Oh, like
Yeah.
somebody sent you a dessert, or
Yeah. Yeah.
bartender giving you something. Like, yeah, here and there, but not like I don't feel like you know like mainstream or anything like that. I don't think it's there either right now, but
I think it's coming.
I heard like I heard, yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm just wondering. I mean, you would be the perfect role model too for kids. I mean, again, like, sometimes MMA will get bad reputation because of the way people conduct themselves. But you're such an honorable guy. Again, your work ethic, the way you come across, like, you couldn't want anything more for a role model for a kid or something coming up. Like, does that ever cross your mind? Because it's good if it hasn't happened already, it's going to happen. You will be a role model for a lot of kids, especially folks or kids back home in Israel.
Um, it's like that's cool. Like I don't know if it's something I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
but like I know I could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be the best I can. Like even like posting something on Instagram. Like if kids like if kids right now that look up to me see this, is this gonna have a positive impact or a negative impact?
Yeah.
Like not doing anything crazy, but just like even smaller things. Um, that if I think it don't look good or like could have a negative impact, I'd rather not post it.
Right. Yeah. Good for you. You were fighting at, what was your weight? Because you've gone up in weight, right, to 55.
Yeah, I used to fight at 145.
You look like a big 45. Was that hard for you going down? Like, what's your walking weight? Like, your off season, just.
175.
Yeah, that's a huge cut. Holy shit. Are you more comfortable at 55? I mean, you looked awesome
Yeah,
in your last fight. You looked really good.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think when I started fighting, I would like diet down
Yeah.
and then have to cut like in water weight, like sweat out,
Yeah.
you know, 7 pounds to make it, which is not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly with age and like gaining some muscle, I had to cut 9 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 pounds. When it got to 15 pounds, I'm like, you know, I think I'd rather just go up a weight class.
Yeah. I think it's probably healthier for you too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Again, and
Especially in my last fight at 45 when I got knocked down
yeah.
3, 4 times in the second round. I
Yeah.
think it may have had something to do with like being dehydrated
I was wondering
and
that too.
sucking my brain
Yeah,
of the liquid that protects it and
exactly.
making me more susceptible because I didn't get hit that hard, but my body didn't take it well.
I was wondering the exact same thing. And I mean, the science is there. You are more susceptible to concussion and head trauma because of the dieting. It's one of the things that I know it's a huge thing in MMA. I mean, some organizations have even tried to work around it, trying to do weigh-ins at the same day of the fight to mitigate that. But I think that could even be more dangerous as well because
Yeah,
you're losing.
exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know what the answer is there, but I am glad that you're thinking about your health, and you're not doing too. You're 5'9".
Yeah.
Yeah, so you and I are the same height. I think I'm a little bit over at 5'9", and I'm walk around one this 175, 180. So the thought of going down to 145, to me, I mean, I'm obviously old as hell, and I wouldn't do it, but it just blows my mind that that's got to be a really shock on the body. Has that been one of the harder things having to do with like dealing with the weight cuts and things of that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, training is fun.
Yeah,
Cutting weight is not fun at all.
yeah, and that's what I hear from everybody I talk to that goes through it, and wrestlers as well. It's just brutal on the system. So 155. So you think 155 is going to be where your home is?
Yeah, I think so. I can still make 145 if I really need to,
Right.
especially now that I have the help of the UFC. We have the Performance Institute. We have
I wanted to ask you about that.
dietitians.
Yeah. What's that been like working with the Performance Institute?
That's been great. I get like physical therapy every day.
Oh wow, you're like wow.
Whatever hurts, take
That's
care of it,
that's awesome.
monitor it.
Yep.
Um, then we have the strength conditioning program.
Yep.
Um,
And what's your diet like? Did they create the diet for you, or did you already have?
they,
Yeah.
yeah, you have a nutritionist.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do they create the diet for you, but they will supply the meals for you with the right quantities
Oh my God! So
if
you
you'd
don't have
ask.
to source the food. You just go and eat.
Yeah, you can just grab your meals and eat.
Oh wow!
Uh, yeah. Um, what else? We have a sports psychologist,
Wow! Yeah.
somebody to talk to and go over things.
Yep.
Uh, you know, ev- Something like it's so easy. Fighters were always like, "No, I'm good. I'm tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I have no problem. Not scared of anything."
Yeah.
Like it's not true, right?
No. No.
I'm not scared of saying it. Like I don't think if I say it out loud, it diminishes me. I think we always say like, mental health is something you need to speak more about.
Yes, I
Uh,
agree.
Thank God I'm feeling good and I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of worries, sometimes self doubt.
Yep.
Um, so it's great to have somebody to talk to. Um,
I love hearing you say that because you're right. Like, and especially, and guys too, are always going to tough it up and all this kind of nonsense.
yeah,
And it's such, GSP was one of the first people to crack open that mold, and tell people, yeah,
yeah,
I see a psychologist. Why not? I need help, like if,
yeah,
to your point, physiotherapy, if you had something injured or that, you'd go get physiotherapy. Like, it's so silly
exactly.
to me. Like, what don't you want to take care of your most important factor, like your brain?
Like exactly. People say like 80% of fight is mental, right?
Right. Right.
How much do you train your body? How many
Yeah,
hours a day?
exactly.
How many hours a day do you train your mind?
Yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
0. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Hey, on that note, you must be familiar with Lomachenko, the boxer, right?
Yeah,
All that stuff that he does. You ever watch all those, like working with puzzles after being exhausted and things? Have you ever tried
yeah,
any? Do you guys do any kind of implementation of things like
Ye-
that?
yeah. At the PI, a part of the strength conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, t- to be honest, like it's so uh, scientific that like a lot of times I don't get what we're doing exactly or why we're
Yep.
doing it, but
Yep.
like everything has a reason.
Yep.
But something I do understand is like, we get to a very high heart rate
Yep.
and very fatigued, and we got to solve problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like on the screen, you know, vision, like touching the
Yes.
dots.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um, Pretty much, a lot of things is like when you're that tired, you just want to crumble into a ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe like having you run or something would be like too much,
Mm-hmm.
but also they don't want to give you rest. So they give you something kind of in between to really when you're the most tired is where when the fight is,
It's most
the
dangerous.
most dangerous,
Yeah.
most challenging. It's
Yeah.
when you have
So
to think the hardest.
exactly. Keep the mind sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really really cool. And I mean, we almost glossed right over it, but I mean, how did you end up in UFC? I mean, it was through. I mean, you're wearing the T-shirt, Dana's White's Contender
Yeah.
Series. How did that all happen?
So I was actually supposed to fight Bruno Souza.
Yes.
was Lyoto Machida's protege.
Yes.
And, it was super exciting for me because I grew up watching Lyoto,
Yep.
and it was like a big inspiration for me watching at home and saying, if Lyoto can do it, maybe I can do it.
Yes.
Um, so like I'm a big fan, and for me, like the as a fan, the biggest like for some people it'd be like, oh, can I take a selfie with Lyoto? Like I'm a big fan, right? I'm like, oh, I'm a big fan. I want to fight your top student.
Yeah. Exactly.
That'd be an honor for me to,
Yeah. Kick
go
your
to war
student's
with him.
ass.
Yeah. So I was doing like a big, I called him out, said, let's do it. Kyokushin Karate against Machida Karate. Was supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
But, on Sunday, I get a call from my agent. Hey, you want to take a fight on Dana White Contender Series? 2 days notice, one weight class up against an undefeated, submission specialist. It was 6-0. No, sounds scary. Okay, let's do it.
But I mean, I know you gave up that other fight, but I mean, honestly, like, what choice did you have? The UFC is calling, isn't that? I mean, that's the call I
Yeah,
guess every fighter is waiting for, right?
exactly. Like it's like what's the worst that's gonna happen? You're gonna lose.
Right.
So what? Everybody loses in life,
Yeah.
in record, in like in fights and different things. Like I'm right now I'm undefeated, but I don't think I'll be undefeated forever.
Yeah.
The only thing is like before every fight, I tell myself, I know I'm gonna lose one day, but not today.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Uh, yeah,
yeah.
so
So
just go
no,
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, that was. I couldn't believe you did that fight in 2 days, and I mean, and you that was an amazing fight. You really dominated on the ground. It was very, very impressive, um, and ultimately took the win. Did Dana have any words for you after? Have you spoken to him?
Um, no, just a fist bump.
Yeah, I saw that.
Told me later. He told me congratulations, welcome
Mhm.
to the UFC,
Yeah.
and I was really happy, of course,
Hmm.
but it just felt like so natural, like sitting there getting the contract.
Hmm.
Like you would think, like I was, like jumping out of my seat, but now it felt like okay, finally, like
It's
put in
happened.
all the work.
Hmm.
Um, did everything I could to make it to this moment. Imagined it like,
Hmm.
never like really imagined getting a contract, but like imagine me in the UFC all the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So why not? Just it's normal.
Yeah. I just looked up at the time and I just realized I wanted to talk to you for like an hour, but I've gone way over, so I do apologize. But
No, no,
you do have such an interesting story, and I just wanted to try to get as much facets of it as I could because you're like the Karate Kid who made it to made it to MMA, and it's just incredible. So it's been an incredible honor for me having you on here. I was looking forward to it. To be honest, I was a little nervous all week with this because I am such a big fan of yours.
thank you very much.
Yeah, it's
I'm a
been.
fan as well.
Oh man, duh. So any final words? Anything you want to say to folks? Especially, I mean, I get mostly a karateka fan base too. Anything special you want to shout out to anybody or anything you want to say?
Um, just thank you for the support, and if you have a dream, go for it.
Yes,
Won't be easy, but it'll be worth it.
yes, absolutely. On that, thank you so much, sir. Good luck in your fight. I don't think you're going to need any luck in anything with your work ethic, but it's been an honor. Us.
Was thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.